got to get into this whole Joel Olsteen situation because I heard that it was an unfortunate situation. And you know the worst part about this is? The worst part about this whole situation is it was a woman. Now, I was following this over the weekend, and I realized that it's a woman. It is a woman that is the person that did this shooting at Joel Olsteen's church. Let's get into it, y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Jennifer, thank you. Right now, the hunt for answers continues after a woman walked into Lakewood Church with a long rifle and a child and then started shooting.
Yeah, that woman was killed by law enforcement, and this morning police want to know her motive behind the shooting.
I think where are you at? Lakewood Church. Lakewood Church and Ralph. These units at Lakewood Church. Active shooters.
We're told she began shooting just before 2 p.m. between afternoon services. At some point, she was shot and killed by two off-duty officers. The young child, either 4 or 5 years old, was shot along with another man who was in his 50s.
We have Lime TV coverage for you this morning. Victor Jacobo is live for us at Lakewood Church to break down exactly what happened there. But first, we will start with our Ugochi Loka, who's live outside a home in Conroe. Ugochi, how is this home connected to the investigation?
Before we get into this, let me set the precedent right now. This is what we're not going to do. This is what we're not going to do. I don't care how y'all feel about the church. I don't care how you feel about Joel Olsteen specifically. I'm pretty sure that none of y'all actually been to his church. I have not either. I don't feel any type of way about him because I don't know anything about him. I've never seen any article where it was needed for me to actually do a video on it. What we not going to do is we're not going to advocate for this to happen at another church. That's not what we gonna do. What we do here at the Millionaire Morning Show is we advocate for people to be able to say what they want to say without hurting anybody. I've never seen him do anything or say anything negative about anybody. I don't understand these monsters that walk into churches. Y'all don't even know why the person was doing it. I heard somebody in the chat say, and I also seen it on social media, but I can't substantiate it yet, that the person was actually from the alphabet community. We don't know that. If that is the reason, then that adds additional context. But y'all gotta stop. Listen, at some point, y'all have to start having some empathy for victims. I don't care how you feel. A, nobody ever deserves to get their hands put on them. And then B, nobody deserves to go into a worship service, regardless of what you worship, and have this type of tragedy happen. Y'all need to stop. Because when I pulled this up before I even reviewed this, because I didn't see this video, I just pulled up the news report. I went straight to the comments like we always do. We always go to the comments no matter what social media platform that we on. I went straight to the comments, and people were so focused on how they felt about Joel Olsteen, or the church itself, than being sympathetic for the idea of somebody got hurt during a shooting, and it was actually a woman that did it. So this is not the time. Listen, you don't wait until you see something tragic happens to try to throw somebody under the bus. Unfortunately, him and his church and the people that were in the church are the victims right now. Now, if you got something to say, then say it outside of when somebody negatively impacts what's happening in this church. But this is not the time to do it. And it's so sad that all of y'all keep jumping on the bandwagon when y'all see somebody else do it. You know what's so funny? I did a test. And I let a negative comment on one video permeate, and then everybody else under the comments start saying the exact same thing. It's just like when you see women say, "Who hurt you?" I know that they got that from somebody else, and they're not even giving their own real minds, their own perspective. Don't be easily persuaded to do something that you're not supposed to be doing just because it seems like the bandwagon that everybody else jumps on. Stop having a mob mentality and start thinking for yourself. This is not the time to sit here and talk about, oh man, that's why he preached the same message every week. That ain't what we talking about. Nobody should be bringing a pistol into a house of worship. And you know what else y'all need to start doing? You need what else? You know what else? The good people that spot it, y'all need to call it out. Y'all need to shame these people. When people say crazy stuff, the problem with our society is too many good people are sitting on the sidelines watching it happen. And this is not the time to turn the other cheek. At some point, we have to start confronting the people that want to be the loudest in the room with the negativity. At some point, y'all, it can't just be me. It can't just be me standing on business all the time. It don't matter what you worship. Listen, I don't care if they was going into a Muslim mosque. I don't care if they were going into a Buddhist temple. I just so happen to be a person that loved Jesus. But at the same time, nobody deserves when they go to worship to have to worry about whether or not somebody is going to walk in with a pistol and create chaos. Because I respect your right to worship however you feel like you need to worship. I may not necessarily agree with your God, but I absolutely stand on business when it comes to human rights. And so y'all got to stop letting these people get away with this nonsense by just saying this, by letting them get away with it. And then it make it seem like, oh, all people are like this. No, we not all like this. And so some of us have some humanity left in us. Some of us actually have some sympathy towards the victims. Some of us don't want this. If you don't like him, then don't go to his church. But you can't sit here and say it's because of anything that they did wrong. Nobody deserves to get their hands put on them. And nobody deserves violence, especially in front of a child. What is wrong with us? Have we become so degenerate that we can't even call out the bad behavior? Y'all need to start calling these people out. Don't time them out. Because everybody deserves to have the right to say their opinion. Don't time them out as long as they're not being disrespectful. But you need to call it out. Call out the trifling nonsense and stop letting these people me too you as far as you having an opinion that ain't even yours based off of something that somebody else said and you ain't ever even experienced it for yourself. Come on, man.
Yeah, right now we're still working to confirm the exact connection to the home here. But what I can tell you at this hour is that there is at least one tie to yesterday's shooting in reference to the house in this neighborhood. Also at this hour, I can tell you that law enforcement officers are in the vicinity. You can't see the several police units behind me right now because it's dark, but they are here. And at this point, they are not commenting on the nature of this investigation. Take a look at your screen here. This is video of federal agents spotted in this Conroe neighborhood last night. At this hour, we're still working to learn a lot more about the shooter. Houston police say a 30-plus-year-old woman who walked inside Lakewood Church on Sunday shooting with a long rifle was shot and killed by two off-duty officers. The woman had a child as young as 5 with her, shot in the exchange of gunfire between her and the officers. The child, HPD says, is in critical condition at the hospital, and another man was shot in his leg in the crossfire. Here's
my question. As we examine what's going on in the world and we see all of the evil that's breaking out, a lot of people are telling me, well, Anton, it was a woman. And the news are saying that it's a woman. And I'm looking at the chat because I love to interact with the people, and that's a part of what this show is because chat lives matters. Here's my question. Was it a biological woman? Thank you, Tam Renee. I'm going to look at that email. Was it a biologically born woman or was it a biologically born male? Because the context matters. They're automatically saying, well, it was a woman, but was it? Was it a biologically born woman or was it a biologically born male? Because that then matters on how the news is reporting it because it's slanting it a certain way in order for you, excuse me, it's slanting it a certain way in order for you guys to be influenced and then for us to be influenced by long-term how we see certain things. Is it a biological woman or is it a biological male? Some people say, y'all got to get the insight. Find out for me. I'm going to look at this a little bit more. Let me play this.
Chief Venner and Pastor Joel Olsteen had to say about this tragic shooting.
Places of worship. That's what they are. And that's what they will remain in our city.
We don't understand why these things happen, but we know God's in control, and we're going to pray for that little 5-year-old boy and pray for the lady that was deceased.
Yeah, right now we're still working to learn the connection between this woman as well as this little boy still fighting for his life. In the meantime, we're going to send it over to Victor Jacobo, who is live at Lakewood Church, who has more on eyewitness accounts. Victor?
Yeah,
Eric Daniels said, what does it matter? Because context matters. Okay, if you get beat up in the parking lot, but you get beat up by somebody that they're identifying as a woman, but it was a biological male, does it make a difference? Does it make a difference what jail that they go into? Does it make a difference that they brought a child into it? All of the details matter. You can't just say, oh man, it was a shooting at the church. We want to know the details. That's why it's called an investigation. We want to know if it's influenced by what it is that's happening in society. Why did they do it? What was the manifesto? What was the sex of the person? All of it absolutely matters. If it was a biologically born woman, that's not the nature of a woman to do something like this inside of a church. Historically, we don't see it. And so don't question me for questioning what the details of the investigation is saying. Don't just say, well, a lot of people were sending me this story and they said, well, Anton, it was a woman. But then a lot of people are saying, well, it was a person that was a part of the alphabet community. Yeah, it matters. It matters that y'all said that it was a woman in the first place. 100% it matters. Why wouldn't it matter? Why wouldn't it matter? You know, the fact that we even have to sit here and ask this question of whether it was a biologically born woman or a male, and nobody knows for sure, is the real issue in this conversation right now. It absolutely matters. 100%. 100%. Every single detail matters. 100% of the detail matters.
We're learning more about the harrowing stories from people who were inside Lakewood Church during the moments when those shots rang out. Now, when the shooting happened, it was just minutes before service was set to begin around 2 p.m. That meant people were filling inside the building right before that service. Witnesses told KHOU how they managed to run out of the building or were forced to find cover inside before police could respond to the scene. Now, the situation was terrifying, especially for parents who were separated from their children who were at the daycare center inside Lakewood. Now, here you're going to listen to a scary account of a young boy who was in a daycare center of the church when that incident happened.
And I peeked out the windows and I saw cops coming, so I knew there was something inside the church that would do damage to us. So my dance group ran into the bathroom, and all we had to defend ourselves is a knife, a box cutter, and a wooden and some wood to block the doors.
And it's so unfortunate because now this kid, whether they know it or not, is actually going to be living with this tragedy for the rest of their life. This kid is going to be living with this tragedy for the rest of their life. It's sad. It's incredibly sad. Unfortunately. And they don't even know how this is going to affect how they see life and how they see every single thing in life from now on. And this is one of the reasons why I say I hate the hood. I hate growing up in the hood because I even identify certain things that happen today in my life or how I see things that happen in my life. You know, I was chilling with my girl. Shout out to Randy Rosario. Shout out to Randy Rosario. She actually is traveling right now on tour with tonight's conversation. But my girl Randy Rosario, she from Detroit, and we was kicking it and we was talking over this weekend. Me, her husband, and Rita, and we was all having dinner, and we was at Deep Prime inside of MGM Grand, and she was saying, "Yo, when she was out shopping, and she was explaining to this, girl that's not from the same hood and stuff as us, that the way that she even carries her basket when she's walking around the aisles, depending on the way that she goes, is influenced by certain things that happened in her childhood based off of the things that we used to see inside of the hood. Even some small detail like that, right? Whether or not you even step on somebody's shoe and you got to anticipate getting into a confrontation because we used to getting into a space where people will kill you over stepping on a shoe. The very colors that we wear when we go into certain neighborhoods, or we go over to the West Coast, or if you go into this particular neighborhood, you got to make sure that you got to run red lights, or all of this stuff. We grew up in spaces and experienced things that's not supposed to be for children, or is not supposed to even be for adults. You're not supposed to experience. That's not normal. It's not normal. And so this kid experiencing this in church, you don't know how this is going to affect them. Everything we do in this lifetime is a learned behavior. Every single thing, the things that you take in on a daily basis, the people that you talk to. That's why you got to make sure that you be careful of the circle that you keep.
Now, Lakewood Church, of course, home to a very large faith community, and once many of these churchgoers had been able to escape the building and out into the campus, were praying and singing in order to comfort themselves and wait for those moments once the all clear was given. We're also waiting this morning for more information from Lakewood Church about when they may open again and what the status is of the investigation inside. For now, reporting live outside Lakewood Church, Victor Jacobo, KHOU 11 News.
Listen, I'm not an advocate for anybody doing anything against somebody. And I think that this is one of the most cowardly things that you can possibly do. To go and do this to unsuspecting people is one of the most horrific and cowardly things that a person can possibly do. I think it's something you can't describe. You know what the worst part about it is? Even if no one actually passes away except for the shooter, the butterfly effect that comes along with the things that the impact that they have on people's lives and how it's going to affect how we view certain things is going to live forever. It's going to live forever. And so my prayers is to everybody that experienced anything in that church. Dramatic. I never want anything like that to happen around me. I don't want it to happen to anybody else. And so it's unfortunate.